Oh, fraud alert has gone all the way off. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dan Augustin. I'm so grateful if you're watching this video. Would really appreciate it if you decided to like, comment, and subscribe. My goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers by end of the year. I'm a long ways away, so I can use your support. As far as I know, about 90% of the people who do watch these videos are not subscribed, so please just go ahead and tap that button. Now let's go ahead and jump into this game, the Texas Longhorns versus the Florida Gators. Quick breakdown, instant reaction. Man, I think one of the things I'm proudest about is the fact that they won convincingly, but also I have been the only person, as far as I know, screaming from the rooftops that this is all possible. The Gators have a very long way to go, but I knew this was possible. I expected them to win this game. I expected them to win this game convincingly. I'm going to talk about some of their strengths in this game. I'm going to talk about some of their weaknesses in this game, because a lot of times you mess around and you win and you get caught up in the win. You get caught up in how good the win felt and you feel like you've healed everything. Winning covers things up. It's cologne on musk. They got to jump into the tape. They really got to find the weak spots, because their schedule is going to get tougher and people will find their weaknesses. Texas found them. Texas wasn't able to overcome Florida's main strengths on defense, which is their D-line. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. First thing I want to say is DJ Lagway. The offense improved mightily. And just look at the first drive. The first drive, the Gators opened up. They took the ball on the first drive, and they held onto the ball for 7 minutes. It's a 15-minute quarter, and you done took half the quarter already, and you got points. That's a tough way to start if you're the Texas Longhorns. You don't want to be sitting on the sideline watching them dominate. Love that the Gators got out and right away started getting the ball to Dallas Wilson. I believe one of Billy Napier's weaknesses is a strength as well. The Gators have an embarrassment of riches. They got so many players at so many positions. They don't necessarily know how to get the ball to all of these guys. And some of these guys are more athlete than they are dominating or imposing at their position. Just because you're good in high school doesn't mean you're going to be good in college. It doesn't mean it's going to translate, because sometimes you're beating guys that can't keep up with you. But sometimes it's not just about beating guys that can't keep up with you, because sometimes the guy across from you can keep up with you. He is athletic. He was a 3 or 4 or 5-star too. Sometimes it's about putting fear in that guy's heart and making him a little bit less confident, because all these guys got talent. You literally playing against Texas, and we just ran right through them. Love that the Gators popped off, and right away, first play, got the ball to Dallas Wilson. First play of the game. Get him involved. Get him involved in the offense. Get the offense seeing that, okay, we're going to move the ball forward. And then what happened on second down? I think it was 2nd and 1. We give the ball to Jaden Ball. He gets 7 yards. Automatically, the offensive line is looking at that. Now guys are dapping each other up. They're feeling good about their first possession. I can't tell you how many times the Gators have had their first possession be a 3 and out, where we only have the ball for barely a minute. And that's a terrible way to start psyche-wise. But in this game, we start off, we get a first down, we get the ball to 2 of our most important players. Dallas Wilson is already low-key one of our most important players. He's definitely an impact player. He gives the Gators a Jeremiah Smith approach to the offensive side. And what he's going to be able to do, you started to see it in this game. He's going to open this offense all the way up, because corners are going to be afraid of this man. And sometimes they're going to have to commit 2 guys to this guy automatically, which opens things up for the Vernell Browns, for the Sturdivants, for hopefully the Trey Wilsons. I would love to see him get going. For the Mizels. So many different guys the Gators have, so many different weapons, and they're struggling to get the ball to these guys. And that's been the confusing thing. You're watching these games, and the Gators have no kind of offense unless they're playing against LIU. And you can't tell me Texas's defense has athletes like LIU's. Texas's defense gotta have athletes like Miami's, like the LSU's, better than USF's. And we made them look awful today, but it's because we had the real depth chart. We have a real number 1 wide receiver who puts real fear in people's hearts. Real fear. Who can score on a 10-yard catch. That's going to set guys like Trey Wilson up for one-on-ones. Mizell, one-on-one. Vernell Brown, one-on-one. Sorry, can't put you in zone. We can't guard you in zone because we're too concerned with Dallas Wilson and what we saw him do. So we got to put a man on you. And now we get to see those guys' strengths. So the offense is a lot more balanced now, not even just from a standpoint of play calling. This game was one of Billy Napier's best. There's still some stuff about this game that I did not like. You know, a lot of times he likes to run the ball on second and long. Don't like that at all. Second and long, we need to make sure we pick up 5 to 6 yards. Maybe his confidence is just like, I know my team can get 5 to 6 yards on the ground. Love that. But ideally, we need to ensure that we get 5 to 6 yards. Best way to do that is in the air. Okay, one of his best games for certain. But I would say this team is more balanced now, not just with play calling. And this was just a game, so I can't say the team is more balanced with play calling after one game. All right, I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment, but they're more balanced athletically, talent-wise, which makes other teams have to adjust the way they play us. This was absolutely one of Lagway's best games. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was averaging about 65 to 68% passing percentage. He's 21 of 28 in this game, about almost 300 yards. So he's 75% in this game against Texas, a ranked opponent. Got DBs, got D-line, got it all. All week, all you hear about is people talking about Texas's defense and how their defense is amazing and all these names. And Makuba ain't back there. Barron ain't back there. I don't know who you got back there. These guys are nameless as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So I don't give a damn about the brand of Texas. And that's the attitude Florida's got to have as they move forward through their schedule. I don't give a fuck about the brand that you're playing against. I don't give a fuck who you play for. I don't give a fuck about your 5-4 3-star. Can you guard him or not? This was one of Lagway's best games. And you can also see in this game how sometimes play calling affects the players' statistics. When Lagway threw that interception, I think it was in the third or fourth quarter, it came off the heels of one of Arch's interceptions. So it's 29-14 at this time, and Billy Napier's trying to throw deep. There was 6 minutes left on the clock. I think it was the fourth quarter. There's 6 minutes left on the clock. We literally went interception for interception. We traded picks, and there was no purpose for it. We're talking 6 minutes in the game. Run the fucking ball. Run the fucking ball. Run it on first down. Run it on second down. And then if you have to throw it on third down, if you have to get the first down, throw it. Get the first down so you can extend the drive and you can keep bleeding the clock dry. But instead, Billy Napier decides to throw deep. Bruh, you ain't never been throwing deep all season, and now you're throwing deep with Lagway with 6 minutes left on the clock and we're up 15 points? For what? Bleed the clock dry. End the game. The game could have ended on that drive right there. But Billy Napier decided to throw deep. Texas' D-line gets pressure on Lagway. They hit his hand. He throws a flapping pass, and it's unfortunate. Lagway didn't deserve that interception. He played a great game. But now the ball just ends up in the air fluttering. You're going to get picked. So in instances like that, you can see how Billy Napier sometimes is just, I don't know if I want to call him erratic, because I genuinely believe his play calling feels like an Excel spreadsheet. I feel like I can see what his idea is. All right, I'm not trying to chop off the head of Napier with this tape right here. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Sometimes Napier's play calling is off, and I think he's blessed with the amount of talent that they have in Florida. Something about that guy has to be really, really relatable, because he's getting some of the best talent in all of college football. Dallas Wilson was verbally committed and already slated to go to Oregon. Something about Billy Napier is bringing these guys over here. 5-star quarterback, 5-star receiver, 3, 4, 5 stars all over the field. This team is in a position right now where they can absolutely run the table and go to the SEC title game, win the SEC title, go into the college football playoff, get to the championship game, and win. This team is positioned, believe it or not, to go back to back. Like, do y'all realize Jaden Baugh, DJ Lagway, Trey Wilson, Aiden Mizell, and Cormani McClain are all sophomores? This team is stacked. This team can absolutely run the table and get to the national title game this year, next year, and the year after that. There's something that happens when you have a dominating number one wide receiver. Alabama looks great. Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, they look great. But Ryan Williams is a specific kind of wide receiver, number one. It's almost like a Devontae Smith, but he's not going to dominate you. Go watch what Dallas Wilson was doing out there. He looks like, I think his comp is A.J. Brown. Dominating, physically, imposing. The way he run his route, very expressive, very aggressive. The way the Gators were able to run the ball today has so much to do with why they were able to pass the ball. They're averaging 5-6 yards a carry. So anytime they RPO, Texas's linebackers are inching up because they're trying to make a play, which set DJ Lagway up for so many moments. The first touchdown he had with Dallas Wilson. RPO, and for some reason the safety decided to play over the top of Mizell, and they doubled Mizell instead of having an eye on this 6'3", 200-plus pound wide receiver over here. And they left him over there one-on-one, and he scores. They're in an amazing spot right now. I think this game that they have coming up against Texas A&M is going to be dangerous, though, because Texas A&M's got two really great wide receivers in Craver and Casey Concepcion, and they have another very talented quarterback who can run, Marcel Reed. And I think the Gators' weakness, I feel like I figured it out in this game. Their weakness is actually in their secondary. They have a lot of talent back there, a lot of athletes back there, a lot of size. They're very tall, very long. But the Gators' strength makes their weakness look a lot better. And their strength is their D-line. 6 sacks in this game. The D-line getting constant pressure. I think the defensive coordinator had a great plan because they had spies on Arch. And anytime they didn't, Arch got out of there for 15, 20, 30, 40 yards. But the D-line really set the DBs up for success. Monty McClain really struggled in this game. Just about any time Texas had a deep pass or, a deep first down, 3rd and long, 2nd and long, Cormani McClain was the one getting beat. Cormani McClain almost played this game as if he was a safety as opposed to a cornerback. There was no real aggression. He played this game as if he didn't want to give anything up over the top, but he got beat underneath and he got beat over the top. So there's some communication stuff that's got to go on, that's got to really take place with the Gators secondary. I hope they get it fixed because I think next week we could see a shootout. That game is going to be more challenging. Marcel Reed, I believe, is much more twitchier than Arch. Embarrassed the Gators last year. Embarrassed them. And, if the Gators only played against Wegman last year, I think the Gators maybe win that game. But Marcel Reed really put a lot of pressure on him. If the Gators play Reed the way they played Manning, constantly blitzing, I think his name was Sharif Denson, number 0. Every time I saw Arch, I just about always saw him. He was constantly giving him hell. They had a spy. If the Gators really come into this game and they focus on keeping the spy, keeping pressure on him, we're gonna give Texas A&M problems. Texas A&M is much deeper, in my opinion, than Texas. Texas doesn't necessarily know their identity right now. Yes, Arch and Wingo were able to make a connection. I think their connection will grow through the course of this season, but they don't have no real number 1 wide receiver. Wingo, to me, is a number 2. To me, Wingo is a T. Higgins because T. Higgins is clearly the number 2 to Jamar. Texas is using him like he's a number 1. He's not. All right? Cormani, I'm going to work on a video breaking down Cormani's game. Would have loved for him to end the game with that interception, but that interception would have masked how poorly he played in this game. I'm going to call it out here because somebody needs to. I'm sure they're watching it. I'm sure he knows. I hope he knows. I hope he's honest with himself. He's got to be ready next week because next week those guys are much faster. They're better. On both sides. You can't hide. Okay? There's no hiding. If there's any weakness in the secondary, Texas A&M's going to find it because Texas A&M can run the ball and they can throw it. Texas A&M is a better version of the Florida Gators before the Gators got Dallas Wilson because they got 2 wide receivers on the outside that aren't the biggest. They're just explosive like Trey Wilson. They just know how to get those guys the ball. Texas A&M can get you off balance because they can run the shit out of the ball. They have so much depth in the running back room. I expect them to be able to move the ball quite a bit against the Gators. I think this game will be much more evenly matched than this game was. This game says 20-29. 21, 29, 22 or whatever. It wasn't that close. The Gators really dominated Texas. Dominated. This game could have very much so been 35-14. All right. There's little things. Texas's first touchdown happened right after the Gators have their first turnover, right? Texas's next touchdown comes after the Gators get their second turnover. Those little things got to be cleaned up. All right, let's talk about Arch really quick. He played pretty well. People are expecting so much out of him. People are crucifying him online, and I think it's the media's fault. The media popped off making Arch Manning a proposed number one pick off the rip, which is insane. It's beyond insane. I wish there was a better word for it. There probably is. I got to go through a whole thesaurus to find it. It's insane what the media did with Arch Manning. All right. But the media is crazy, and we got to really be mindful of that. That's one of the main reasons why I enjoy doing this, because I get to get my thoughts out. I wish I could challenge these other guys. I wish I can debate these other guys sometimes so that we can come to a understanding, ideally, and maybe they can stop peddling poisonous ideas on TV. But this is the same media that launched the Shedeur Sanders campaign. That's the same media that is now launching the Arch Manning campaign. And they are the same media that after one bad game against Ohio State, crucified him. You cannot trust the media. These guys are on TV and they're talking about sports, and they played sports and they love sports, but they are highly emotional and they lack the endurance of understanding an entire career. Arch Manning is going to be really good. He's going to be. He's not right now. Arch Manning, to me, when we talk about comps, Arch Manning to me he's Josh Allen. He's so unrefined. He's rough around the edges, but he is Josh Allen. And he's going to stay in college because he knows he needs to. Bro, Arch needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of time, really. There's certain things that Arch does really well. There's certain things that Arch does not do well right now. Arch, in the pocket, he's really good in the pocket. He's really good in the pocket. I mean, in the pocket, Arch Manning is just, he has full control of his body. He's sliding up. The Gators put so much pressure on him. Play after play after play. They didn't really give him too many opportunities where he just gets to sit back and find a man, and didn't really give him all that. But Arch constantly felt the pocket, moved up in the pocket, despite getting sacked 6 times. Him getting sacked 6 times, not necessarily an indictment on him. That says more about the Gators and the way they were coming for him. Honestly, he should have been sacked 10 times. The Gators missed him quite a few times. But they missed him quite a few times because Arch was good at getting away, good enough at getting away on those plays. Pretty conflicting for me to say he looked good, because I'm also about to say this game could have very much so been like DJ Lagway's 5 interception game. Arch Manning almost, he threw 2 picks. He almost threw 6. I counted. He almost threw 6 interceptions, 2 off of RPO plays, and the other 2, if I'm not mistaken, one was dropped by Cormani McClain, and another one was a pass that, he slid up in the pocket, great job in the pocket, but then he tried to force one down the field to Wingo in double coverage with a defender over the top and a defender below him. And I believe Thornton, 18, almost picked that one off. Terrible decision there. So he's making some decisions where maybe he's trying to trust his guy. Maybe it's because he's playing from behind. A lot of times when these quarterbacks end up throwing interceptions, it's situationally based. The play call won't be set up to force the ball down the field every single time. And if you have a crazy down and distance, like for instance, his first interception came after his 40-yard run. Texas then committed 2 false start penalties back to back. They're not used to being on the road in the SEC, right? Ain't no Kelvin Banks out there. Nah, he played for New Orleans now. 2 false start penalties back to back. That pushes them back down in distance-wise. Now it's 2nd and 20. And now they're forced to be overly aggressive, throw the ball. The Gators know you're going to throw the ball. The Gators only rushed 4 guys, dropped 7 in coverage versus Texas's 4 wideouts, 3 wideouts, 1 running back. So you just about know that 1 running back, he's not going that deep. So you basically got 3 wide receivers versus, say, 6 DBs, linebacker on a running back, or 5 DBs. enough to basically say each of your receivers are double covered right now. And that's when Arch threw his first interception. The odds aren't in your favor. You got 7 guys in the secondary versus your 3 to 4 wideouts. That's not the best situation to be trying to go and get a bunch of yards. It's 2nd and 20. They probably got overly aggressive. They probably should have schemed. At that point, you know you're in 4-down territory. You know you're going to be going for it on 4th down. So you might as well be trying to get 8 yards. Let's go for 5 to 8 yards. Let's go for another play for 5 to 8 yards. But the time is also up against them. So these are all situationally based turnovers sometimes. Texas got to get some wide receivers. They need a real number one. When Arch popped off last season and everybody was, essentially just give him the Heisman at the start of the season, he was already playing with Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond. That's who he started with. These are skilled wide receivers, make tough catches, very fast, and that's who he started off with. And he had Gunnar Helm at tight end. Good old line. That's the team that Quinn Ewers developed with. Arch got to jump in with them. The team Arch is playing with now, this is a new team. The brand Texas is the same, but this is a whole new team. They have a lot of developing to do. All right. And I think Texas, personally, to be honest, I don't think Texas is going to win any championships under Sarkisian. I'm not the biggest fan of his. I don't know why he's so popular. I don't get it. I think the brand of Texas is really where the popularity comes. TV, media, they want Texas to matter more. And I think it has a lot to do with media rights. I think it has a lot to do with markets. And I think the Texas market is much bigger than the Gainesville market. This little town in Florida. And so they want Texas to be big. If they had their option, media-wise, they'd pick the University of Miami over UF any day of the week. UF is as sexy as it is because of the fact that, yeah, that small town really supports, but it's the history. It's the history. But market-wise, they don't have a market nowhere near like a University of Miami or a Texas. So they're just pushing Texas's name out there more than they should. And, it's ridiculous, but that's what it is. That's the game. Last thought here. I'm really concerned about Trey Wilson. I talk about him a lot in these videos. I think he's such a great piece in your offense to have. Like I said, I think the Gators have an embarrassment of riches, and I think that's their biggest challenge, is really trying to get everybody the ball. And put it like this, while watching this game, if I saw Trey Wilson on the field 10 times, 8 out of those 10 times, I saw him blocking. He's not even in a position right now on the depth chart with this team where his skills are being utilized. I hope he stays, because you don't need to have it happen where every single year you were the best player on the team. If you just have a great senior season, that will be enough. Great senior season, great process, great combine, all that stuff, great pro day. You can easily get into the top 2 to 3 rounds in the NFL. But I'm concerned because he's not getting the touches, and now we just added Dallas Wilson. And Trey Wilson is not the number 2 wide receiver. That's Sturdivant or Mizell or Vernell Brown. So for whatever reason, he's not being used. His skills are not being used on this team. I'm not quite sure. If anything, if I'm the Gators, I'm trying to get him more touches. I would put him at running back. I know the Gators tried a lot of toss, a lot of sweeps, a lot of little, jet sweep stuff with him, trying to get him the ball right away. I would just go ahead and just line him up at running back. I would put him at running back so that a linebacker is matched up with him. And then I would send him out, and now he's got a one-on-one with the linebacker. These are the kinds of things I would do if I'm, on that offensive staff, offensive coordinator, Billy Napier in general. Finding ways to get him better mismatches, finding ways to know he's the target. I'm talking 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. Put him back there at running back, because automatically the defense is going to be confused. They're not going to know what the fuck is going on. They're not going to know why he's at running back. But he's back there at running back. You're going to have a linebacker back there. You're not putting a DB at linebacker. You're going to have a real linebacker back there. Quick out route, get him the ball right away, let him make a move, let him get you that first down. Plays like that, I think, are just easily set up as plays to get him the ball. But they're not doing it that much at all, really. He didn't have a single catch in this game. He had one target, a ridiculous throw by Lagway where he tried to force it into triple coverage to throw it deep to him. Didn't make any sense. So, But besides that, I will say Lagway was in his bag in this one. And that was good to see. He had that 3rd and 8 throw to Sturdivant, I think in the 3rd quarter. And that was the drive where Dallas Wilson ended up scoring that ridiculous touchdown. But it was an amazing throw by Lagway, sidearm beauty. It's great to see him in his bag. I believe he's going to keep getting better. All right. I don't think he's throwing another interception. Billy could put him in a bad scenario, but I don't think he's going to throw another interception for quite some time. I think this is the point where his success starts to skyrocket. He started off the game already chirping. He was already talking to his guys, getting his guys going. Got to see that. You got to have a real vocal leader out there. And this is one of the main things that I'm talking about is who is the leader on the offensive and defensive side. Before I can end this video, I just want to say I'm geeked up about this. Did I want Vanderbilt to beat Alabama? Yes. But I expected Alabama to win, which is important because Vanderbilt's schedule is nowhere near as hard as Alabama's. Alabama has plenty of other opportunities to lose as far as fraud watch goes. So it's good to start moving Vanderbilt backwards a bit. All right, the Gators are in a much better place in the standings now. I'm not even going to look at the overall standings, at least for another couple weeks. They got to keep winning. Their SEC standing, though, is 1-1. There are still 5 teams undefeated in the conference. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And then 5 teams in the conference with 1 conference loss. We talking Georgia, LSU, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Florida. I'm not mad at that mix. I'm not mad at it. So I started Fraud Watch because I want these frauds out of the picture. You dig? Listen, that's enough for me on this topic. Very proud. Give it up. Very proud of the Florida Gators getting this dub. Such an important win, but we're not done yet. Do not get geeked up. Do not be gassed up off this one dub. If I'm talking to the team, if it's me, Coach Hope, I'm letting them know, enjoy this win, but be ready to flip the switch on what we need to do next because job is not done. My last thought, I meant to say this, wrote it in my notes. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Billy Napier an extension. Sorry, I didn't want to say that, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's winning games that have too much hype in that game, and he's giving people a sense of little bit of hope. It's just a little bit. Because that little bit of hope is there, it just makes people say, well, we're going to get better, right? All right, let's see if we can get better. As opposed to it being a scenario where year 1 he pops off and goes to the SEC title game, and then year 2 he struggles, and now it's like, whoa, the program's moving backwards. No, the program has been kind of just moving in this place where it's like, we're a little bit better. Great recruiting class. A little bit better. Great recruiting class. And it's like, he just keeps inching it and inching it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this man mess around and get an extension. Remember, like I just said, we got so many talented guys that are sophomores and freshmen. Dallas Wilson is a freshman. Highly doubt he stays all 4 years. But yeah, guys, listen, that's enough for me on this topic. Go Gators. Go Gators. Last thing I'll say is actually the Locked On Gators guy. Don't remember his name right now. But I was really upset with one of his videos. He did a collaboration with the Locked On Texas podcast, and he picked Texas to win this game. He made another video cleaning that up, talking about how the Gators can win, but he picked Texas. You got to be a steward of this shit, bro. You got to be a steward of the shit. You got to be able to stand in the middle of the storm and see where you're being hurt at and figuring out how you can still get your family to safety. Just because we have sucked so far does not mean we cannot do better, does not mean we can't pick things up. I know I'm not actually coaching those guys, but I'm putting this energy out there. If they would have came out there and shit the bed today, I would have kept it a buck on this video. I would have talked about that. But they didn't. And before I did this video and before they got this dub, I was already talking about these things. And that's just a part of it. And for you to be on the podcast and to have the brand of the podcast, people coming and checking for the podcast, I love some of the information you're on there talking about, but you got to be able to push forward with faith. Faith only from here on out. Faith only from here on out. This is how we'll be talking to these guys. It's got to be built on faith. It's got to be built on work. You can't really have that much faith if you're not putting in the work. And these guys absolutely have an opportunity to get to the SEC title game. The way they played out there today is going to change the way other teams show up to play them. You don't get to show up the next week and play the same way now. It just means that there are going to be different mismatches. It just means that guys might not be watching Sturdivant the way they used to be able to watch Sturdivant, because now they got to force their eyes over to Dallas Wilson because they don't want to get destroyed like Texas did. Guys, again, for my third time, this is my spiel. I'm done. I really appreciate you getting to this part of the video. Come on, hey, do me a favor. Go ahead and just subscribe right quick, homie. Just subscribe right quick, homie. Why are we even doing this? What's up with the back and forth? You dig? Subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Would appreciate it if you shared this video. Go Gators. We got Texas A&M next week. Let's go get this dub. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to do some more research on this game when the time comes. So, keep an eye out on that. This has been Confessions from a Conflicted Gator Fan. I'm geeked up. Damn, this also means John Gruden might not be coming. We'll see. The Gators still got to finish. They still got to finish, right? Still got to finish. The Gators finish strong. John Gruden is going to mess around and end up coaching somebody else, and that's disappointing. All right, y'all. Peace out. Go Gators.